Good morning, everybody. Happy New Year to everyone. And I'll take on for the year of January 1st of 2026. Let's get right into it. So, of course, for the night, it'll be the first Smackdown of the year. One second, y'all. So this will be the first SmackDown of the year to go on ahead finally take place in the year of 2026. So, interesting opening segment. Forgot how everything had took place per se, but I believe it started off with the women's eight tag team matchup with Charlotte Flair, Alexa Bliss teaming up with Rhea Ripley and Io Sky against the Kabuki Warriors and Lash Legend and Nia Jax. So, ultimately, it's a good showcasing. Again, with all the teams that were at this point far out from the Survivor Series War Games matchup. I think everything had subsided more so they wanted to give a new push, and which I feel like end of the day, they had to get everything refocused, restructured back onto the storylines of everything. Especially with the Kabuki Warriors holding the tag team championships, and it feels like leading up to the next PLE, which I do believe is going to be either the Royal Rumble or something in between. Um, Again, I am highly seeing where it might end up taking. Maybe it might end up being a fatal four-way tag team matchup for the women's tag team titles. Could end up being number one contenders match leading up to next week per se. There's several ways they can go ahead and take this women's tag team division for the belts. Per se, with the Kabuki Warriors having a interesting sequence with all the teams that's in there besides Nia Jax and Lash Legends. But even so with them, I feel like they could be prone to turn against per se the Kabuki Warriors. But is whatever's in the heel storyline again. Um I believe there was also more matches on the card. There was a lot of segments profoundly on the card. Of course, we had the introduction of Trick Williams, who is letting us know he's a free agent, which we had a showcasing with him and Sami Zayn. Again, I was kind of hoping to see Trick on the main roster at some point, and we're going to get that coming up sooner than later. Gratefully that we are going to go ahead and see Trick on, like I said, a main roster soon, so that way we'll be able to go ahead and get a better showcase of him, and it will be exciting. Like I said, what's going on there? That three foul. I've been good. I've been good. Just talking about WWE Smackdown for this past week. So, but yeah. So Sami Zayn and introduction to Trick. Um, really do like the way they introduced him and everything, especially going into like the new year, so you need fresh new blood. Of course, Javon Evans, you was in the breakout superstar of the year for 2025. Felt well deserved with all the credentials that he has earned. Let's go on also medal and contributing to that heavily factor. I would love to see these young stars coming up because there's a numerous amount of years to build off, and that's one of my contingencies of keep pronouncing every single live per se. They're the future, they're here to stay. Um, the other matchup that we saw that was featuring the NXT call up from last year, which is very interesting because we can honestly see a rivalry that will probably or may not happen between, but that'll be a good showcase. Like I feel with Trick being introduced onto the main roster and the way how he is, I feel like if he was to get introduced just like Carmelo, um, maybe Carmelo and Trick should run back a rivalry from NXT. Um, should it happen fast? Should it happen soon? That's more of the you are a folk. Speaking one person. Hey, I'm talking to a live stream. Thank you. Um, again, it's love to see how they'll progress everything as it all goes further. So hopefully by then, we'll be able to we'll showcasing from Trick and Melo. It's been a while since we've seen them both in the ring. I think the last time they were in the ring together, it was a tag team match against DIY. Going on from Carmelo Hayes. Carmelo Hayes had defended his United States Championship against Johnny Gargano with his wife on the side, Poison Pixie, and Carmelo had ended up retaining. So this is the reason why I definitely know that Carmelo is going to be featured in a lot of showcases. Especially because with the United States title, I feel like that gives him more the opportunity to elevate up and definitely make a profound statement on his career from this point on. Unfortunately for most of the United States champions, hovered around they've hovered around and just been floating. Unfortunately, like Sammy, Solo, and also LA Knight, their careers just haven't prospered rather with the booking talent that there is, unfortunately. So maybe they, like I said, they could find, implement storylines, like I said, with Ilya Dragunov, and there's several other superstars that are now on the roster um that filled that um you could say B-roll like you could say that B-roll like athlete more so, or B-roll player. So that way, whenever there's the main guys, then you have your fallbacks, unfortunately. And literally there's no reason why, and there's I don't see um that's why I said that there's no reason why that Carmelo Hayes and Trick shouldn't get a showcase, and it's going to happen sooner or later. And also, there was a segment with the Miz. Of course, he was teasing the backstage segment, getting in the heel troll, and honestly, for everything that's worth, the Miz is honestly definitely the most charismatic superstar that I enjoyed watching in these last couple of years. So I definitely love to see his interaction with several superstars. Him and our Truth are classical. Him and John Cena is magical. Him and Randy are just something hilarious, to be honest. So now at this point, like I said, I've seen Randy has now come back at their coaching. I show speed for him showing on his speed debut on WWE. So it's very great to see them. It's very great to see him back now. Maybe we can finally see an implication that he will be in a major storyline. Hopefully, it's been a long time since we've seen Randy. Um, hopefully might be getting to that realm to where he go ahead and faces Gunther again. Still don't know. Gunther is on a tear at this point, being on Raw and just trolling the hell out of John Cena and the way he has rubbed his salt in the wound. So it would love to see, for me preferably, love to see Gunther versus Randy. Again, match style could be anything preferable, just anything exciting. And I think one of the other topic of conversations was, sorry, Chelsea Green. Unfortunately, diehard fan of hers, love Chelsea Green. Um, and Chelsea Green defended her Women's United States Championship against Julia. Um, did not turn out well, unfortunately for Chelsea. Julia had hit her with the Northern Light superplex. Um, very, very Great matchup. Again, I love Chelsea's showcasing. She's a very great entertainer for everything that she has been doing for WWE at this point. I can actually, and I actually enjoy Chelsea Green as, like I said, the competitor and entertainer. Wrestling aspect, I feel like she is still good in her way, the unpretty her. So preference is preference. You know, it's a pick or choose thing. Um, and then and we also had found out the stipulations for these three stages of hell for the Drew McIntyre versus Cody Rhodes. So it's going to be a first known matchup. Second one's going to be a false count anywhere. The third, if so, will be a steel cage. I'm particularly excited for it. It's been a while since there's been a three stages of hell matchup. Um, Again, they don't showcase those matchups as much, so that's why it's always like a very, very potent thing to really have wanted to see. But again, Drew is turning up on the mic. I mean, he is turning up on the heel gas so much that yeah, people are booing the crap out of him, which is very, like I said, it brings the more entertainment factor of it all. So, and just the way how he is just dogging Cody Rhodes' DC's father, unfortunately. Dustin, like I said, it adds more flame to the storyline. So it just builds more intensity to the story as it gets. They always try to say Cody's emotional per se. Again, gonna love to see this matchup. If they have the implemented storyline. Rather you feel like Cody will retain or not, it will probably be a prolonged thing. Yeah, I am hoping that Drew wins because at this point, I I haven't seen. I have gotten over. Cody has gotten over for me, per se. And at this point, I would love to see Drew win. I love this. I love to see a Scottish psychopath as champion. We haven't had the full front to see him as much, so that's the only absurd thing. And really, at this point, like I said, Drew is champion. I'm fine with Cody. I don't mind. I would just let you be the guy that everybody has to come up against at this point. I feel like Cody has earned his keep. Cody has earned finished his story, and he has done everything that there is for the company now at this point. Who would Drew face at Mania? Now that's a good one. Um, if Drew is champion, would you like to see him defend the title against Roman? Now that's an interesting question too as well, Angela, because even though Drew is very, very highly talented, him with the belt I feel like will be very profound and it will carry over very well. But that will just remain to be seen. We haven't seen him with the championship since Mania, which was only about 5 minutes in total. So hopefully we get to see long lasting of a stint then with Drew because well deserving of a champion. Held the title back in 2020, held the company up from 2020 during the COVID era. So again, I would like to see him with the belt. If it happens, it happens. If not, it's written in the WWE script. But I do feel like at some duration he does have to get his just due. And I believe the last match on the card was the Damian Priest versus um Aleister Black. So of course it was an ambulance match. It's been the first time also in a while for one of those. Um of course there will be interference on both spectrums of the story. Um this is one storyline that has been drawn out for me per se as it can be written off and now it wouldn't even bother. But they've continued to let the Aleister Black and Damian Priest storyline run through its course. At this point, I wouldn't see for the rivalry that how long it has gone for. I wouldn't be surprised if they end up just putting them together as a tag team. I don't see nothing else that they would do for them per se. Like Damian hasn't had a significant story since being world champion since last year, and that was before once losing it to Gunther via interference from Finn. Yeah, I thought he would have had a big return as well, but um, again, this is WWE. They're the script and booking is just how they proceed, and it's already well written into the future. Unfortunately, again, I would love to see a mixture of certain superstars. I like to see a Jacob Fatu end up returning soon. Hopefully, like I said, it will add more, implement to a lot more to the storylines, and then it's another superstar in head to throw in there. He's a well versed individual, so he has a well versed move set. Again, I feel like with Damien, Drew, even Jacob Fatu, I feel like with that you can throw a mixture in. Even with Randy, I feel like you could throw a mixture in. I feel like if you threw that into a fatal four-way match for the world championship, that would be an awesome match because of the match styles and every style that every wrestler is able to implement and put into a matchup. And the storytelling itself would be I feel like it will be a grand stage of an 8 out of 10, depending on how you write it or how you use it. But again, are you saying how? Again, first things first, you had to be champion. Now, if that happens first, then you have good implication for a lot of things. Again, if you have Drew as champion, you can run Drew back with a lot of people that he can get his get back with. More so. Via him and Roman. So if he does, again, the hypothetical, if he does win the title back from Cody at the next PLE for the WWE Championship, then yes, I feel like Drew should run a gauntlet back of everybody that's been a major rival over his last couple years. If Punk still has, if Punk still has the title, maybe Jacob could do a Jay Parnell act like he's going to attack Drew. Yeah, that would be nice. That would be nice. You know what? And you know what? Preferably, I love Jacob Fatu as a heel. Preferably, him as a face. It kind of like it don't hit well for me. Preferably, and again, because this is anybody else can comment more so. Jacob Fatu is just like that wild card. You don't know where he is going to hit, strike, or react. So that's where I feel like the implement of him getting mixed up into the storyline for anything, it'd be like a complete added bonus. So again, I'm hoping we'll end up seeing, Jacob returning soon. It's just a whole implement into the story. Like I said, with SmackDown, there's a horde of superstars that they can work off with, especially like I said, if Trick is coming to the main roster. Would definitely love to see that. Trick Williams. I think I was mentioning to one of my friends the other night, per se. Trick Williams, not a just showing having a good showing against Cody Rhodes. Cody can still be champion. Um, again, how it had to be for a championship. Just has to be a good showcasing for Trick to go ahead for the trajectory to be from skyrocket on up. More so, we've seen a good showcasing with him and Carmelo. Seen a good showcasing with him and Oba. So why not show another young guy love on the main roster that's coming up soon? Honestly, I want Braun to win. You know what? And objectively, I want Braun Breaker to win this Monday night. I'm hoping to go ahead and end up catching the match per se. I want to try to review before I even go to work that Monday. I mean that Tuesday. So again, I'm hoping to see if Braun wins. That'll be another implement to a story because that's another. He's not another wild card factor, but he has the potential to have a lot of big game matchups against a lot of big game people. Rather, if it's okay, here's a couple of names I'm gonna throw at people: Gunther, Brock Lesnar, Obafemi, and there might be either one more hit I want to throw in there for Braun Breaker to end up getting in the mix with. I maybe if he was still probably on this roster, Cesaro. Um, but again, that's a whole another implication. There was another implication that says that I heard another rumor saying that Chris Jericho may return. I can enjoy seeing that. If the Elimination Chamber is in Chicago, I wouldn't be mad at that. And honestly, at this point in time in Punk's career, I can kind of see him. I would like to see him lose to young guys, but have good matches against like the guys in his age range per se. So anybody that's in the 40 club, like I feel like Punk will go ahead and do well with. But as far as the young gen, I feel like the new gen has to get the leg up now because older generations have already they've already overtaken the stardom and the power per se. And I don't want to have it like if anybody could remember WCW for the time that it was when Hulk Hogan and everybody was always in creative ear and nobody had a real actual push until after those guys left. I don't want it to be so where younger talents that get shelved and don't get showcased as much don't get the love when there's a lot of roster with a lot of guys on there to really showcase and give you rather mic skills, wrestling, or just pure entertainment. Period. Like I'm really hoping that in the year 2026 that not to say that the older generation didn't earn their keep, but in this time and day and age, you want to get fresh. And there's a lot of fresh legs that's moving on to that roster per se. So definitely get on the ball. Yeah, thank you, Andrew. Like there really is a lot of like young cats. Like I think I was looking at somebody's like TikTok the other day and they were like, get rid of the 5 PLE matchup style. And I forgot initially who was the creator, but it was a really, really interesting take. They was like, get rid of the 5 PLE match style, getting rid of like the Survivor Series war game aspect, like go back to the traditional Survivor Series matchup. I grew up off of that. So particularly if anybody here is on the live, the traditional Survivor Series matchups teams, I enjoyed that per se. One of the other things I was also wanting to probably imply is if WWE start doing 2 night main events rather for your big four, big three per se, Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, SummerSlam, Survivor Series. If those are your big four PLEs at that point, you can have them be in 2 nights, but just make sure that there's a decent sized matchup card to showcase everyone at this point. I don't feel like there's need to be a time. I'm not a part of the deal to where how long people get showcase time on the roster or whatnot. But it is at this point in time, you made the time for Cena. His last time was then. You got to make time for the time is now and the superstar that you have at this point. So again, um, I'm highly looking forward to where WWE moves into the future. Again, the future is here in the present. So let's go ahead and enjoy the product for what it is. But wasn't gonna stay too live on this long. Wasn't gonna stay too long on this live, everybody. I was going to go ahead, definitely give a few of my takes, but I will be live later on. We'll probably be doing a little bit more later on the day. If you want to join me for more later topic conversations, one I will continue. Again, we're going to be having more lives dropping this later on this evening. So again, tune in with me. Take it easy, guys, and we'll have more wrestling takes next time.